What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It's 420 in California, and this is DC 420 LA. Hey, Uncle Sam. Yep, the liars keep on lying. The self-proclaimed cannabis candidate.
Oh, such a disappointment.
Is exposed as manipulative, violent, and, quote, dangerous to democracy as the citizens of Chicago independent and marijuana media expose this cannabis hijacker. What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? I am indeed Dave Conan, and this is DC 420 LA, The Week in Weed, the show where we get together, get high, talk about marijuana in the mainstream media, the politics of pot, and cannabis cures every Sunday at 4:20 Pacific here at DC 420 LA on YouTube and a number of other spots that I'm going to talk about. But before I do, I, of course, have to bring in my co-host for the show and in cannabis and in life, Coach Chella.
Hi.
What's up, Chella? How you doing?
How's everybody out there?
We are so well coordinated in our colors today.
Well costumed, huh?
We weed. We weed.
I hate it when people co-opt weed.
Man,
it's really upsetting.
There are some pissed off people in the cannabis and progressive world, progressive politics world in Illinois, and
we should be pissed
quite
off.
frankly, over here too. If folks who aren't watching right now don't know what we're talking about, we of course have had it's been a very dynamic week. Very dynamic week.
In pot politics.
In pot politics as well for us here at DC 420 LA. And before we really get into any of the stories right now, I want to welcome everybody to the show who's jumped in early. Daily Dope Show is in the house.
Hi.
Phil Britton is in the house.
Hey,
Talk a little bit about Daily Dope. He hooked me up with an article this week, turned me on to, that we're going to talk about in the first block here. Really great resource. He does a great show every day and every week. Enjoy Brand over there. So thanks for being in the house there, Daily Dope. And Phil Britton broadcasting, restreaming over at Pirate Radio for as long as it's last, as the FCC is going after.
Us too, though.
Read that article. Well, it's not the FCC going after us. It's corporations and trolls, you know. But he's streaming it out there, broadcasting at 101.3, 100 watts of power, Boulder Valley, Pirate Radio. And I think Nederland too. Are you up there in Nederland there, Phil? It's cold up there in Nederland, I understand. We know somebody that used to live up there. Of course, we have family in Colorado. So thanks, Phil. Thanks, Brand, Daily Dope
guys,
Show.
thank you
For joining us. We're going to be talking about, of course, you guys have been, or at least Brand has been involved in our conversation about the self-proclaimed cannabis candidate that really got our interest at last weekend.
He looked like Superman.
He looked like Clark Kent.
He was saying all the right things.
Saying all the right things.
A young Bernie Sanders.
And, of course, came into national prominence when he took the picture of himself smoking the joint. It was picked up by Fox and Friends.
Yeah, good at the PR. Really
which we showed last week, the Fox and Friends segment that he was interviewed. We're not going to show any interviews this week. And we are going to go through a little bit of our story with this candidate. But there's some breaking news, but it's not really breaking news, but it's the latest. As I say, just a little history. We, of course, interviewed Pat Harris on Sunday. It was last Sunday. It was
California candidate for Senate.
It was a Sunday before, right?
Democrat.
Or was it last? No, it was last Sunday. Oh my God.
It was just last Sunday.
It was just last Sunday. So we interviewed Pat Harris. Great interview. Check it out. A cannabis candidate, champion of cannabis here in California, running for Senate. Self-proclaimed. You know, before we get into it, I have to do the housework, house cleaning, because we are going out over not just Pirate Radio. We're going out over a number of places. We're going out over YouTube, of course. Please subscribe, get notifications, because we're going to get into this story, and I want to make sure I tell everybody where we're at and where you can find us, because we're in some exciting places. Of course, YouTube, subscribe, get notifications for as long as they'll let us.
Yeah.
Because we're a little worried about that, of course, considering the content.
Is shutting down cannabis content.
Yes, because we are...
Cannabis content creators.
Disobeying, doing civil disobedience. We are cannabis contract creators. So this is one of the demographics that's getting shut down on YouTube. So we're broadening our scope for this educational medical marijuana and recreational cannabis show to help mainstream and normalize cannabis. So we're going out over...
Good people do use marijuana.
People do use marijuana. And there are good people right now watching on Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network. They are indeed... it's streaming live every Sunday at 4:20.
Hey, Weed TV.
We're the first regular cannabis show that they've added to their lineup. They've since added, of course, they've added the Chronicast over there on which is up from Cannabis Culture. I know it's from Dank Emporium up in Canada. But there we are streaming live over on Weed TV on our own channel, weedtv.com. So that's pretty exciting.
So cool.
And since all of this corporate stuff may end up getting shut down, who knows? Because we're going out on Facebook and Periscope. We're going out on Twitch and a couple of other gaming platforms, which is interesting. But we're also going out over DLive, which is the very first blockchain live streaming platform based on cryptocurrency.
Wow.
Well, with a crypt because it's connected to Steemit.
Sounds very Blade Runner-y.
Oh, it's all very Mr. Robot. It's all very.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, it's all very trendy.
Oh, I love that.
It's really quirky. It's very it's just getting started. So, but we are going out over DLive right now as well. So all of that very exciting. I'm just checking right now. Indeed, it is. So if you're on DLive, Steemit, welcome. Give us a thumbs up. Share it. Subscribe. We've got some followers going over there. On DLive now. It's increasing. So thanks everybody for joining us. Let's get into this story a little bit. I think I want to play...
A little background.
A little background.
For those who don't know.
It really hasn't been picked up in the mainstream media. We played the Fox and Friends story last week, and it really hasn't, except for on Fox. It's been picked up on Fox. And I thought...
Politico.
That was where it started in the newspaper. And I guess really that's where we should start. But we are a video show. So I picked up on this video that was on Fox and Friends. Or at least they were following up because they had done a story on it. So let's just watch this clip from Fox about the stories basically that came out last week. After our show on Sunday and after an exchange I had with the candidate and his team over there. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I want to show you the only media really in the mainstream media that's been discussing this topic this week. And we're going to talk about a little bit in the first block because I think it's important. Then we're going to get on to happier things. But we're a little PO'd. So let's watch this. Well, that's interesting. Can you hear us now?
Well, there's 12 people watching. So that's exciting.
Wow, they're getting really tricky. I wonder if that's going to happen in all the video clips. Well, that's just going to make us talk about the news ourselves, I guess.
That would be very... Well, maybe, like I say, we keep our mics up during the thing and we comment like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Interesting.
Anyway, press on.
All right. Well, let's talk about... So here's that Politico...
This guy, Benjamin Thomas Wolfe.
All right. So we're just going to talk about... That's just going to make us talk... Yeah, really. That's exactly what's going on. Weird. Okay. So we're just going to talk about the story and actually analyze it.
Go on.
So after we were so excited about him last week...
Because, if you run for office, clearly you don't have any, Me Too problems.
Well,
or,
funny story.
Serious issues.
We actually contemplated whether or not to have guests.
Yeah.
Because,
Because,
we just do. We just get high and talk about the news, which apparently we're just going to have to talk about the news now anyway, because the clips aren't going to work.
Just us and some friends, and we hang out in our living room.
And that's even a video that's on my channel.
Oh, weird.
Weird, right?
Anyway, go on.
Okay.
Benjamin Thomas Wolfe.
So Sunday, we had such a great talk with Pat. On Monday,
Pat Harris for Senate.
I reached
California.
out to Benjamin Thomas Wolfe and sent him the link to the interview and said,
running for Congress from Chicago.
He's running for Congress in Illinois' District 5. He's running as a Bernie-crat for all the progressive issues.
Everybody loves Bernie. Everybody here, anyway.
His number one issue is cannabis. It's number 2, maybe. So, and he's calling himself the cannabis candidate, which is why it was picked up by the mainstream media, which is why he ended up on our radar.
Well, he did something sensational and wild, just like advertising on Pornhub.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. I didn't reach out. I reached out. He said, amazing, essentially, and sent me contacts to
that's exactly what he said.
His press secretary, I assume, or his press guy by the name of Tom.
Yeah.
Which a lot of folks are talking about. So I reached out to Tom. Tom got back right away, said it was amazing. And no sound now?
That's exactly what he said.
No. So said it was amazing. Tom said, great, let me pass this on. Sunday, probably no problem. So I got heard back, pretty quick, got excited, went on the air to announce it on Weed TV and elsewhere that we had the self-proclaimed cannabis candidate, progressive out of Illinois.
I always say that cannabis is going to be a huge issue for 2018.
I said it last week.
It's a big deal.
We were talking to Pat. So if it's still no sound, let us know. But we're just it looks like it's going out, and we're just gonna keep talking. So great, awesome. Heard that I heard back from another member of the campaign that said, "Oh, we can't do it. We're busy." Then they said, "No, sorry,
can we do it later?
Mistake. We are available. Let's do it an hour later." And I said, "Okay, great, sounds good."
Yay, cannabis.
So we that was Tuesday, which was the 6th.
Whatever, the day before the shit hit the fan.
The morning before the shit hit the fan. And basically by the shit,
this guy.
I mean, this article comes out on Politico.
Arr.
Cannabis candidate accused of abusing women and inflating his resume.
Horrible. So we do have to ask people if they have a Me Too problem if they want to talk on the show. Are you kidding me?
So now I was making fun of that. I was like, do we really? I mean, do we really need to ask Pat if he's got a Me Too problem? We're like,
come on,
it's good.
Pat,
fine, everything's fine.
Nobody,
he's progressive.
No.
So I just breezed, bros. I just slid right into the next one, and I'm like, oh, it's all going to be good. No questions asked. And literally, within 24 hours, this Politico article comes out, as well as the Newsweek article, and with his famous picture there.
The picture's fantastic. It's great. He's
Chicago
making pot
Tribune,
look bad is my problem.
Chicago Tribune, who is focused on not the...
and then he's an awful person.
And this was, when this came out, because Politico was focusing on the accusers. And if anybody knows us, we believe women.
We believe women.
So...
we believe women.
Even when I was contemplating whether or not we should continue with this... And Shelley, you were actually like, well, it is the last week. It is something that Hillbots might do.
He's bucking against the status quo.
The system, which is his line. His latest statement.
But I believe that
the politicians of Chicago and the Democratic machine are coming out.
I fully could buy that. That could totally be a possible
I'll buy that
thing.
for $1.
Sure, it's not like the Democrats haven't done something so sneaky and awful to people like Bernie Sanders in the past.
And we've got another possible theory around that whole larger.
Oh yeah, this is even better.
That Daily Dope Show hooked me up with. We're going to talk about. But so the Chicago Tribune comes out with he got a problem with his FBI record. He wasn't an agent. He worked for the Bureau, but he wasn't an actual agent.
He kind of lied.
He's definitely doing some inflation.
And then we found out that he was banned from a college campus. Are you kidding me? Because he was mean to girls. What?
Well...
it's really hard to get banned from a college campus unless you're doing something serious.
There are a number of citizens that, for the last year, he's been basically on the radar and locally in Illinois, in this district, Chicago, for the last year since he launched his campaign. So, now, I just listened to a story today I'm not going to play the whole thing.
No.
I'm not going to play any of it, actually.
But these guys, Hard Lens,
I
is
do
doing
recommend.
great work.
I posted it, I tweeted it, and it's in one of the playlists. The YouTube, basically the story from this group called Hard Lens Media, which is a local independent media in the Chicago area, relatively new. Wolf was one of their first interviews when they were getting started. And he, essentially, targeted them as, he's going for the youth vote. And that's what a lot of what he was doing. He advertised on Pornhub because they're all under 40.
Really smart. He did a flashy, crazy thing. He did all of his meetings in bars. I mean, really clever. I admire that. I admire all those tactics. Sidewalk chalk, and I admire all that shit. It's great. He's making people who use cannabis look terrible.
Yeah.
I think he's
Not
new to
cool.
cannabis, first of all.
Oh, yeah, he's totally new to cannabis. Well, actually, we're going to get into that.
He doesn't have any policy.
We're going to get into that.
Cannabis.
That was the last article. The most recent article that's come out was from Marijuana Media. But of course, Gizmodo reported on this is on the 7th also that Pornhub pulled the pro-weed candidates ads following the stories.
Yeah, because he was mean to girls.
A Democratic organization, because he was, that's why. Yeah,
I know, because he was mean to girls.
The porn site has some standards. So...
you can't be mean to girls.
And a Democratic group in Florida who had previously endorsed, they pulled their endorsement. So a lot of dominoes start piling up.
I could see... Anyway. But Herb did a really good interview.
Well, Politico continued to pick up on it, talking about the Twitter groups that are exposing him, or at least testifying, providing testimony from people, not being picked up at all in the mainstream media, guys, except for the Trib, Chicago Tribune. The editorial of the Chicago Tribune was only about the lying of the FBI.
Yeah, they didn't say anything about...
They said this guy's a problem because of that.
Harassment,
Not a word about harassment.
Or abuse, or verbal abuse, or anything.
Now that might be because
Me Too issues.
We thought. Well, we both thought that, maybe they don't have any credible sources.
Yeah, but now there's so many women.
Well,
sorry, and I believe them.
We kept digging. So. We keep digging. We kept digging.
Yeah.
And those Twitter. We
didn't send them the link.
Those Twitter sites. They're keeping an eye on the media, and this was a local independent reader, I think this is in Chicago, millennial, who the title is "I fell in love with the cannabis candidate, then I got burned."
Yeah, sure, I can buy that.
And it's a pretty good read about what was going on.
Yeah.
And then our Urban Times picked it up as well. Basically talking about the same story, not really adding much to the conversation. Just talking about the mainstream coverage of the allegations. And this is another Chicago Tribune blurb. Mary Jane then picked it up. That went out on Friday on our newsletter. That was on. It's dated today, but this is going out, I guess, in this issue of Mary Jane, maybe the printed issue. But it went out on Friday. And they basically get into the same information that was reported earlier. Not a whole lot of additional. And then Magazine.
Yeah.
Asked the questions that we were going to ask today.
The weed questions.
The weed questions.
Weed-centric stuff.
And their headline is "Voters Beware. We interviewed the cannabis candidate, and he's full of it."
Not full of weed, that is.
And not full of weed, apparently. And I'm just gonna read a little bit from this as we get into what because really this was what we were sort of. We do talk to this guy. Well, first of all, we're going to address the immediate matter at hand of domestic violence and manipulation of voters and the gorilla in the room, 800-pound gorilla, if you will want to call it that. But, we are a cannabis show, and that's kind of why we stopped. We didn't want to take too many guests in politics because we wanted to keep it to cannabis. So let's see what he asked about. They asked about cannabis. And I'll just quote here. When Herb interviewed Wolf, we decided to stick with what we do best, weed. We tried to get details from the cannabis candidate about his pot policy, but there wasn't much substance there either. To get the interview going, Herb asked Wolf how many grams of flower and concentrate he would allow people to carry if he was elected. He replied, quote, "How many grams will I allow? You know what? That's a great question," said Wolf. "I don't know the specifics of it. I'm a low-level user. I don't buy it from a friend. Oh, I buy it from a friend of mine, or they bring it by the campaign office for us. I'll have to learn more about that." For someone known as the cannabis candidate, he didn't seem to know much about weed other than that he recently started smoking it. In reply to our question about how he would support minorities and those hit hardest by the war on drugs, which we talked about
with Pat Harris
extensively last week, with Pat Harris being a civil rights attorney and criminal and a public defender. We talked a lot about that last week. So great question, Herb Magazine. And let's see where, okay. I think gosh, a really big question. We do a lot of outreach with various communities here in Chicago. It's a big city. It's a diverse city, culturally diverse, racially diverse. And I think everyone in this city and in this district clearly knows that we're the pro-cannabis candidate. And they'll know there's always an open door to our office where we can help them with any projects and startups, any businesses or banking needs that they would want. Our office will be the front and center to assist them in any way we can, unquote.
So it sounds like he's not going to do anything as far as criminal justice reform, just make businesses and tax money. That's all he knows about weed. And
jump on board the referendum that's going on in Illinois right now, because cannabis, there is a referendum in Illinois on the ballot to basically, it's not binding, but it's citizens' way of saying, yes, we want legal cannabis in Illinois. So it is on the ballot. And what we've learned over the months from last year's election and previous and subsequent is that when cannabis is on the ballot, it wins. So
cannabis is hot right now.
It's looking more and more like a political ploy.
Yeah.
And just to finish up what Herb said here, his vague answer was revealing, considering that criminal justice reform is at the heart of conversations on cannabis legalization, both statewide and on the national level. For someone who has made cannabis a central part of his platform, we expected to plan like Oakland, California's equity program, for example, which is not a bad request for someone who calls himself the cannabis candidate and who is not just jumping on board.
In a city like Chicago, especially. Oh my God, come on, please. So then these guys at Hard Lens, are you going to play a little bit of that?
Well, I didn't really find where to start. What I do want to play.
You can post it in the comment.
I'll post a link to it in the stream, and it's on the playlist, and I tweeted it at DC420LA on Twitter. Follow us there. That's on all of the social media platforms. Everything we're going out on: Steam It, Facebook, Twitter, Weed TV. At DC420LA is the channel.
Yeah.
Subscribe, get notifications, and that Hard Lens Media has the reason I'm hesitating is because we usually play just clips, and this is about an hour-long conversation.
Way too long.
But
the main upshot. Insiders from inside the campaign, like right. Managers and people who really were big management types, upper and middle level management, said that the bottom line with this guy is that he's terribly manipulative and all those things happened, and they told him not to dox that woman, and he doxed her intentionally, and he's totally lying in the political piece. And you know what? Art
Kozlinski says Hard Lens Media is awesome. Yeah, that interview is pretty. They sound. Apparently, their office is right down the street from Wolf's, and they were going to drop in on him and ask some questions. So I even said to Chella, said, hey, if for instance, if they do reach out to us, because we haven't heard a peep from them since this drop.
The candidate.
The candidate. Literally, the last thing. I didn't send anything to them, and they didn't send anything to us. But the last we had heard was that she said, I apologize, I made a mistake. Benjamin can do back Monday. Could we push it back an hour? We'll be traveling. So then everything broke. So we're not giving him a space.
No.
To use cannabis against us.
He's twisting cannabis. Twisting.
He's making cannabis look bad because and he's giving Bernie Sanders supporters a bad name.
Yeah.
Because he calls himself the 42-year-old Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, terrible.
So this is purely a political play. And I even said last week, because I wasn't too convinced, I don't think initially. I was kind of skeptical. And I said, deep state guy comes out.
Oh, yeah.
For cannabis.
Like if you were writing a movie.
A bunch of progressive stuff. If you're writing a movie, that might be, it's
he's the CIA guy.
I feel, it really smells like a psyop is what Daily Dope called it.
Totally.
And I buy it, and that was a couple days ago. And then Daily Dope hooked me up with this article from the World Socialist website.
Because,
which I think is really fascinating. And I know it's not really cannabis related, but
it is in a way.
It's connected. The CIA Democrats.
We won't spend too much time.
Part 1. And I'll
post it in the thing.
I'll post it in the thing, and I just want to read a couple lines out of this. An extraordinary. Thank you, Daily Dope, for I love a good conspiracy, and there's some pretty compelling stuff in this article, considering the times, and it just feeds right into this idea. Is this guy for real?
Yeah, because he's
got fake families supposedly all over the place.
The family thing was
nobody's
really
quite
fishy.
sure who his
wasn't
families
married.
are.
He kind of represented that he was married, but then there's a bunch of girlfriends, and that's weird.
It's all very Jason Bourne. I read a supposed email exchange that really makes pot smokers look bad. Because he starts out by saying, I'm stoned, I'm bored, and now I'm going to be an asshole.
Terrible.
And then he lays out this whole email, if it really is his. I haven't been able to verify, but it looks legit. And, no, that's the kind of shit you'd write when you get drunk, actually.
It did. It sounded really
It sounded
drunky.
like you were maybe doing
Angry
some drinks,
drunk.
too. It's like 4 a.m, you're drinking and you start getting on Facebook. That's what it sounded like. But there's a lot of disturbing stuff in there. And it sounds real because he's really supporting his credentials but
enough about him. Enough.
It's
annoying that.
So let's go. So this says an extraordinary. This is from the CIA Democrats, World Socialist website. An extraordinary number of former intelligence and military operatives from the CIA, Pentagon, National Security Council, and State Department are seeking nomination as Democratic candidates for Congress in the 2018 midterm legislature, 2018 elections. The potential influx of military intelligence personnel into this legislature has no precedent in U.S. political history. The Democrats' capture of majority in the House of Representatives on November 6 as widely predicted, candidates drawn from the military intelligence apparatus will comprise as many as half of the new Democratic members of Congress. They will hold the balance of power in the lower chamber of Congress. Both push and pull are at work here. Democratic leaders are actively recruiting candidates with a military or intelligence background for competitive seats, where there is the best chance of ousting an incumbent Republican or filling a vacancy, frequently clearing the field for a favored star recruit. And then they start to give some examples. And a number of them are women, which they're
you never suspect the chicks.
Sort of extrapolating that might be part of the wave move, you got to jump on that because there's going to be a wave. There are more. So that might just be the fact that there are so many more women that were part of public service in the deep state.
Really?
Military
that doesn't
intelligence
make sense.
that want to get into the legislature. So why not?
Because it's a very
Haven't you seen
deeply
Homeland?
male. I don't believe that. That's a TV show, dude. I don't believe that to be the case. I don't believe that there's a lot of chicks in
This
the
guy's
state.
acting very Carrie-like too, by the way.
He is acting Carrie-like. Hey, but check out Art Kolinsky has spoken to Benjamin Wolf.
Really?
Well, messaged him, and
Yeah.
they messaged back and forth, it sounds like. Art was going to run for Congress, which is awesome. I love that. For Illinois' 8th District as a Justice Democrat. Anyway, then it's too expensive to frickin' try to run.
Right. And
20,000 signatures in 90 days. Wow, that's a lot of signatures.
holy
20,000
moly.
to run green or independent, and your Congress run ended there. It's all rigged to keep the good, regular people out.
20,000
Yeah.
in 90 days. I thought it was tough here.
You know what, though, Art? You can support somebody else that's really good.
There's another Justice Democrat,
Maybe a woman or a person
Samina
of color.
Mustafa, I heard today is a Justice Democrat. I'm wondering
Yeah.
how that played out, Art, with you or trying to get Justice Democrat.
Well, she's in the 5th, and
I think
Art
they have-
was
did
thinking
they have
about
a
the
run?
8th.
Oh, different district.
Yeah, different district. 20,000 signatures, so you'd have to know a
That's
lot of people in
amazing.
the district.
So he got on the ballot.
No.
I mean, as did.
No.
No, I'm talking about if the same. That would be the same for
Benjamin-
Wolf. He would have needed to get the signatures as well.
Oh,
if
right.
that's Illinois.
Right,
If that's the state, that's statewide, I'm sure.
right.
So.
No, this is as a green or independent.
Oh, really?
So maybe as a Democrat it would be different.
Maybe. I don't know much about. I don't know what their system's like either. Is it a? Because we have a ridiculous
wild
top two
system.
system now out here in California, which is going to keep it Democrat forever, for a long time, unless an Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up. But
Is there a Justice Dem running in the 8th district?
good question. Good question.
Art?
If he was trying, maybe there is one that got there.
Yeah.
But there are other progressives running in the 5th. And I just want to play. There was a forum yesterday.
Well, the Justice Democrat in the 5th who's running is Mustafa.
That's Samina Mustafa, yes. Yeah. And the North Center Chamber of Commerce held a forum yesterday, a candidate forum. It was co-sponsored by a number of other Chamber of Commerce. And Indivisible Chicago has the entire video up there. So you can watch actually all the candidates. But we're not going to play. I'm not even going to play really his statement. He addressed the allegation after a question. Maybe I'll play that later, but it wasn't it was boilerplate his response to what he's been saying. But there were a couple of activists in the house, and when it was all said and done, they did confront him. So I just want to take a listen to this because it just came out today. And this is thanks to Indivisible Chicago Northwest. Not sure who the activists are. Don't have their names. I'm assuming they're local residents, the district. Let's just take a couple. This is when this was after the forum, and he was confronted by a couple of folks, and they asked him a couple of questions. Let's just take a listen. Oh, that's what I'll do.
What?
I'll get around you motherfuckers.
Yeah, tell me.
It won't sound as good. We just realized the sound is not going out.
It's not?
No, on the videos.
Oh, no.
So it's doing that to all the videos on the stream.
Oh, how lame.
Oh, that's what I'll do. Okay. So the answer is The answer is I may be off YouTube faster than we think, folks.
Pirating.
I'm wondering if this is happening on the other
Yes,
stations
Art,
too.
I will take your breaking news. Fuck
What's your breaking
those
news,
videos.
dude?
Break it. Break it.
What is the breaking news? Let me see if...
But you're going to get around there.
Yeah, type in the breaking news. I'm going to quick play this. Don't say anything, Chella, because I'm going to play the video and let the mic pick it up.
Okay.
And see if that works.
Okay, let's see.
Hey, Ben. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. We can get a special round of applause for Professor Simpson. This afternoon to stop by at Garden and meet all our neighbors. Thank you.
Ben, I have a question for you. The first time I met you, you called me pathetic in front of my 2-year-old son for asking questions about your background. The second time I met you, you told someone to physically assault me. So, can you explain to the people in this room why they should vote for someone who physically threatens people and calls them pathetic in front of their children just for asking someone? It's a public place. So can you tell me why you call me pathetic?
For asking you why you're running? Can you tell me why you blocked me on social media for asking you why you're running?
You are a stain on this district, sir.
State Department and who took away your security clearance? No one has come out with that yet. I fully understand. Personal records are personal, and we want your security.
All right, so I'm wondering if that worked. Oh, it looks like it worked.
Far out.
So I'm gonna have, until I can figure that out, what happened with YouTube, if it is indeed YouTube screwing with the copyright and the audio going out, because I'm fair using the shit out of this motherfucker.
It's totally fair use. Come on, we're not making any
money. We may be just over. Pardon my French. So that seemed to work, and we're waiting for some breaking news from Art Kozlinski, who apparently is in Defender. Yeah, I heard about them. So Chella's gonna read this, but those were 2 clips from the forum yesterday, being held at the North Center Chamber of Commerce, and you can watch that entire thing over at Indivisible Chicago Northwest on YouTube, and you can see his answer to the allegations. Chella, what do you got?
It's very newsy. It's not cannabis related. I work at our informant, has worked for a company named Defender. They are #1 ADT home security dealer in America. For the last 2 years, they've been committing fraud across the country, forging signatures on 3-year contracts and charging customers credit cards for thousands of dollars without their consent.
Oh, they're pulling a Wells Fargo, but even worse.
He whistle blew and they fired you.
Of course they did.
I love whistleblowers, though. You're a badass.
That's...
Oh, but
wow.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
I hope you're not in jail.
ADT is... I've never liked ADT. It's not a great company. So that's not surprising. Actually, not cannabis related, but it's not surprising. That's terrible, Art. I'm sorry to hear that, and hopefully you're getting some protection.
Yeah.
As far as being a whistleblower goes, and that should definitely. Anybody out there has ADT and signed those check your contracts, and see what you signed up for.
Have you,
sure.
Art? Have you sent this story to all your local news outlets and stuff for protection? Really? I hope so, because you know
we're putting it out right here.
I know, but like the big news outlets.
Yeah,
you know, in your local area.
We have a very tight knit group right here.
Yeah, all 16 of us.
So, hey, that's a lot of folks for us.
Hey, I know, today. We're big.
It's great. No,
thanks,
well, thanks for that. That's terrible news. Thanks for that. That's corporate predatory action at its best.
Yeah, we are not big fans of corporate predatory action.
And yes, and corporate.
Capitalism.
We talked about that last week. In corporate cannabis, what's going on with cannabis, of course, across the board.
No, we're not fans.
So those 2 clips there of some citizens, and no statements.
Okay.
No statements really from the candidate, and apparently his action is, his idea is just to let it go. The primary is a week from Tuesday. And so there, a lot of this independent hard lens media, they are suggesting that you spread these social media stories and videos about this candidate and the stories in Politico to everyone you know in Illinois in the 5th District who are voting. Early voting is already happening. So we'll, of course, keep an eye on this next week. It's a week from Tuesday, so probably cover it, after it happens the following week. But on DC 420 LA, the Week in Weed, here on YouTube, as well as, for now,
Bobby Jackson from London.
Bobby Jackson.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice.
And yeah, because apparently we can't play any videos on YouTube anymore.
Wow.
Because
we're gonna get shut down.
they're third parties. I got a little workaround, and we can pull MST 3000 and comment on it.
I like
while
that
they're going
idea. Anyway, we were going to do that anyway. So whatever, YouTube.
They'll sound a little hollow, but screw those guys. It's going to be curious when I play it back. D-Live, does anybody watching on D-Live, let me know in the chat there if you are hearing the videos as I play them normally.
I just read that they can be heard over Weed TV still.
Oh, good.
Yay,
well,
Weed TV.
There you go. That's going out over a different stream. So,
well, sorry, Weed TV viewers
freaking YouTube.
Who had to bear with us saying, "Can you hear us? Can you not hear us?" I know,
and then having to listen to the clips twice. But welcome, Weed TV.
We'll work it
we
out.
We may end up on just these non-corporate platforms. Although Weed TV probably is not a big fan of third party material either. But Weed TV, I swear to God, this is for commentary. We're not making any money on this. And fully fair use stuff. We're not, the late night show. That's entertainment. We don't play any of that. This is all news. This is all stuff with regards to mainstreaming marijuana and cannabis use. We know that's what you want to do. That's what we're all about here at DC 420 LA. Subscribe to the channel, get notifications, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Steam it. We're going out over Twitch, D-Live, Weed TV, and for now, YouTube. But I'm going to have to reevaluate that as we play and comment, literally comment on the videos as they're playing in our round media roll-up.
I'm excited about it.
But thanks, everybody, for joining in. We do have some new folks in the chat. Yeah. Art Kozlinski, which gave us some great breaking news about ADT being a corrupt organization that should be investigated, scamming people. And Phil Britton is in the house. And who else do we have? We have who from London? Bobby from London.
Yeah, and, Bobby Jackson.
Deanne is in there as well. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for watching DC 420 LA.
Millies.
Let's talk about Jeff Sessions, shall we? Let's move on. We need to move on from one a-hole to another.
Boy, he just has a bee in his bonnet about cannabis.
Well, he may be, as I've been saying, he may have more on his plate than just cannabis. He repealed the Cole memo. I think that
he is the Attorney General of the entire United States, and there's a lot of bad shit going down.
And that had a lot. I think that had a lot to do. Mumbo's in the house. Hey, Mumbo.
Yeah.
Then that had to do with reversing Obama policy, getting rid of the Cole memo, because essentially, let's play this clip in our new way.
Right.
I will turn off the desktop audio so we're not echoing on Weed TV. That's what we'll do.
There we go.
But let's play this clip from Jeffrey Beauregard. He was at a law school this week.
Georgetown.
Was it Georgetown?
Georgetown Law School.
All right,
Go on now.
Where's my national playlist? Stand by.
I
closed the wrong window. But of course, Jeff Sessions, not a big fan of marijuana. I think he's pretty. Good people don't smoke marijuana. Good people
don't smoke marijuana.
And he brings that up in this clip for sure.
Like, I think he says that every time he speaks about cannabis.
Well, or we play it every time, so you hear a lot.
No, when we were bringing it up, when you were playing the playlist earlier, and he was talking, I asked you, was this week? And you got a little testy and said, all I play is stuff from this movie.
Oh, okay, you're right. I did get testy.
And
It's true.
the fact is that, God damn it, every single week he says the same shit.
Hey, you know what?
Every
I
single
just
time we
realized
see him.
before we get into the Jeffrey Beauregard,
Oh,
we didn't do a haul this. We didn't do a normally we do a where we weed and we'll go to a new recreational cannabis dispensary. But of course, we had a lot going on this week. Did some really great fun stuff, and of course, all of this news was going on. But of course, we did resupply at our local collective, like you do at our local collective.
yes. Our home collective.
Our
we
home
like to say.
collective, which of course
Not
is
local.
ITSG
Yes.
Medical Collective, and we have some lovely flower.
Beautiful flower.
Of course, our joints this afternoon were a melange, which we like. A melange, which is there in the first dish here.
Uh-huh.
A melange of Platinum OG, banana. I think it's an OG as well.
And strawberry.
And strawberry.
Kush.
And maybe since I know ATSG is in the house now, you could clarify
Hey.
some of those. But that's in our J's there.
Mhm.
And then
That's in here, yeah.
And then we have a nice big bud that we're going to have at our break. of
Huge.
Granddaddy
It's
Purple.
enormous.
Can you do that up to the camera?
And I'm too far.
Okay, let me take it over here. We'll come up like a giant. Focus on my hands there. Will it focus?
Whoa, stay still. Get some there. Stay still. There, you got it. Nice. Granddaddy Purple.
Boom.
Always a crowd pleaser.
Very nice. Let's do a little.
You know, it's 10 after 5. We might as well have a.
Oh well,
some-
wow! Look what we knew. I guess that's because we know when it's time to smoke. Ooh, look, a little light on there. Very nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
Some Granddaddy Purple. Let's do a little snappy doodle.
Snap.
So what we weed today is some. Whoa! Very nice. Very nice. Snap. So, thoughts on Jeff Sessions before we play this video as I load this bowl of Granddaddy Purple?
Jeff Sessions, that poor thing, he should really. He needs to talk to people who use cannabis regularly in a safe space environment so everybody can speak their truth about how cannabis has helped them in their lives. He needs a loved one to benefit from marijuana. He needs to meet Alexis Bortel.
Ah, yes. That case going to the Second Circuit, by the way. But indeed, well, that's a through line that we have in a lot of folks that do end up supporting cannabis, is that there is someone close in their lives that is affected, greens for you,
Thank you.
that is affected by something that cannabis is good for. So whether it's life-saving or pain management, and there's a video about vets this week.
That's yummy.
So good GDP.
Yes.
What kind of flavors you got there?
Lavender.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, ITSG. Little news break with some
Mumbos
Granddaddy
with
Purple.
the banana OG.
Banana OG. That's an
Nice.
OG. Very good.
What's everybody smoking out there?
What's everybody else smoking? What are you smoking out there? There's the latent cough. The expandability of the OG Platinum. Rather, what is it? No. Granddaddy Purple? Granddaddy Purple. The expanding lung. Very nice.
We
Very
do
tasty.
need it legalized now, Art. Needs to be taken off the Schedule 1 of drugs.
Yep.
My mom, who suffers from Alzheimer's disease is getting in the very late stages now. The only thing that ever really helped her was cannabis. And there are studies in Israel, and in fact, in Israel, every nursing home, all 27 nursing homes in Israel use cannabis to treat older people and dementia patients. And it would be particularly beneficial for those who are truly the ones suffering the most, you know?
Well, there are a lot.
Yeah, we need it taken off the Schedule 1. Write your Congress members, send them postcards from their district.
We do have movement this week in the news that marijuana banking bill in the Senate is gaining support, making its way through. Of course, Representative Gates in Florida, one of our strange bedfellows in this fight for marijuana legalization.
That's why I thought that maybe that CIA guy in Chicago might be, a strange bedfellow, and I was open to that. But no, not if you're hitting people, and not hitting people, but being manipulative and horrible and gaslighty and verbally abusive. I'm sorry, it's unacceptable.
And there's been a couple of folks getting in trouble, actually, for sawing their people running for office, sawing their AR-15s in half, making them illegal, sawing down the barrel. But yet, apparently, now it's been reported that Art maybe can answer this, that there is a ban in Chicago on that weapon, because that's been reported in a couple of the press instances, even today, that there is a ban on that weapon that he is showing in his video.
That's in his living room.
Suggesting banning across the nation, and that he keeps admitted to keeping in his living room. Now, I've also heard other reports that there is a ban working its way in Chicago, which is interesting. So that it's not already, if it's not. So there is that. So yeah, I mean, just it's you get swept up. A lot of people in the media got swept up in that guy, and just really one thing piled on after another. And yes, it is political time. It's political season. Everybody, these parties are scumbags. And, Hillary had a troll farm too.
Everybody has a troll farm. They're terrible.
Everybody's terrible.
Politicians suck.
Politicians lie.
It's terrible.
And it looks like this guy is one of them. I got to say. And I'm sorry if he would want to come on and talk about it. But
that's why we wanted to just do a little weed show.
That's why we gave up on all this and just wanted to do a little weed show. I didn't want to get into politics. Which I'm no longer calling a silly weed show, because Daily Dopes scolded me for that.
It's a silly little weed show. So, is what we wanted to do.
But it's an important issue to us, and it's not...
Normalizing cannabis.
I need to smoke another bowl.
Here. Normalizing cannabis, that's what we want to do. That's what we're doing.
He needed to not just wait for somebody to bring him by a baggie of weed to smoke. He needs to smoke it regularly to work on that anger management and all kinds of things. Because, it is and it's just on all kinds of issues. The latest,
right?
You read the herb. If you read the Herb magazine and you read some of the other statements on his background. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, stop talking about it. Move on.
It's big. It's very important in Illinois.
But yes, Art is saying that, Jesse Ventura's story of cannabis oil stopped his wife's seizures, I mean, you got to write your Congress members, every elected official you can write a note to, write a note. Get a big stack of postcards and write the same thing to everyone who's an elected representative, your mayor, your city council members, the sheriff, everybody, because everybody needs to know the benefits of cannabis. Everybody needs to know.
Even, and while we're talking about ITSGs,
and how prevalent it is.
The benefit of, we've got Oscar Gormbador and Boo Boo in the back there. Now, Boo Boo is not on cannabis, although we're thinking of getting her on some CBDs.
Yeah.
CBD.
She needs to be on. So I've been trying, Oscar, come, Oscar, come. So I've been trying, CBD-A and THC-A on Oscar, and, I think it's helping. Oscar, come. Oscar, come.
Want to help us with beef treats?
Oh, yeah.
A treat? But
Come here. Well, now that, come here. Come here, you little cutie dog.
But
No, that's
I think
too
it's
much.
too early to tell. But of course, CBDA and THCA are non-psychoactive.
I wanted to try it because Dr. Fish advised that another one of his clients benefited better from CBDA with their anxiety. And I was reading that with THCA, you get the benefits of THC, but with none of the psychoactive properties. It's the stuff you find in the leaves. It's a little sleepy time, muscle relaxant. So I tried it on myself, of course, first. And I only give him 3 little drops. And I think it actually is helping him, and it doesn't get him high at all. So for those of you, Phil, who are concerned about pets getting THC, have no fear. This dog has
He certainly doesn't exhibit any strange side effects.
Psychoactive properties in the cannabis.
He's still awfully grumbly in the morning.
But he's so cute. He's such a cute dog. He's so cute. Anybody else use cannabis on their pets?
Of course, everybody, all the pets over there at ITSG, they all use cannabis. Snooky
That's true.
And Monica and
Yeah.
Snoopy, and so thanks everybody. Thanks over there, of course, for the tinctures and the FICO. We've got FICO as Chella's been using the FICO at night.
Yes,
Been seeing some good results with that.
I love the full extraction cannabis oil at night. I find that it helps me have a really
What's this stuff here?
relaxed night's sleep. I usually turn like a rotisserie chicken. And when I have the FICO, I take the FICO, and as I start to feel it coming on, I just lay down on my back in my new pillow from my chiropractor with a D shape in the middle that you can get on Amazon.
I'm gonna get the Christian pillow.
Your special pillow, and I just sleep straight on it, and I'm good. And I don't roll around in circles and circles, and it's amazing. I have a solid night's sleep, and I don't have a hangover from a long grain of rice size amount.
Right, because the FICO sort of when patients are increasing doses of FICO, because it can be for people who don't, because everybody's tolerance is different. You have to find how your system works. And some of that FICO can knock some folks out. Give them some of the best sleep of their life, really.
It's really a good sleep. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, oh no, I attest. The air conditioner rarely goes on at night when you've taken a dose of FICO.
I've noticed that I don't really have many hot flashes.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
When I take the FICO.
It's true. Maybe it's the pillow helping too, but whatever the approach is, it seems
the
but
pillow
it happens
is
more when
helping
you're
my
on the
neck.
FICO for sure.
Yeah.
When you remember to take it, before you go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's great. So all good stuff from our collective, which of course is making the transition, as many of them are doing here in California, as recreational taxed monster in California starts to take over. And we'll get into some West stories in the West in the roll up. But let's listen to now that we've taken some GDP and we're ready for Jeff Sessions.
Yeah.
Now that we've had a little GDP. So let's listen to what he had to say at Cambridge? No. Which law school was this? Let's find out.
Georgetown.
Right. And I'm leaving the mic on. Here we go.
Oh, good. Yeah, we can comment.
Yeah.
Is the following. What is the Justice Department doing to enforce the federal marijuana laws?
Marijuana laws.
Well, we're not going to be
Let's stop
able,
calling it
even if
marijuana.
we desired, to take over state enforcement of routine cases that might occur. Federal agents are highly paid, highly trained, and they work on cases involving cartels, international organizations, major distribution networks, large amounts of cash.
The same thing the Obama administration said they were going to focus on as well.
Criminal organizations, RICO-type cases, and we're not out there prosecuting those cases every day. But it is the law
Not every day.
of the United States of America. And the law of the United States of America, in case you haven't heard, applies in every state in the United States. And I am not going to tell Colorado or California or someone else that the possession of marijuana is legal under United States law. I don't think it's healthy either. If I was sick, wouldn't suggest you take marijuana to cure yourself.
Well, Jeff Sessions doesn't know the latest research.
That's kind of where we are on that. I've sent out a memo that reversed the Cole memorandum of the Department of Justice. I believe it's a rule of law question. I think the Cole memoranda basically conceded and was perceived to have conceded, at least, that states have the ability to determine marijuana policy in their states, and federal law was of very limited effect. I think that was incorrect legally, so we just simply withdrew the Cole memorandum. We tell our U.S. attorneys to use your resources as you feel best. They haven't been working small marijuana cases before, and they're not going to be working them now. It comes up as a part of a bigger case, criminal enterprise. A lot of it's being done on federal lands and park lands and doing destruction to our park system. Those are the kind of things that I'm sure each one of those U.S. attorneys will decide how to handle.
Thank you. Our next question is the following. Do you think it was
That from Live Satellite News picked that up.
So write letters. So we got to keep writing letters to the district attorneys too, because they're elected as well.
So they're not going to mess with those pesky little marijuana crimes. I'm not exactly sure what he means by little marijuana crimes.
Maybe like if we were walking down the street smoking a joint, for instance.
Now the governor of Massachusetts has said that they're going to focus on opioids and fentanyl, and they're sort of intimating that they're looking at anything that's involved with cartels across the international borders, probably crossing state lines, in national forests. That's where illegal grows there. That's where they're going to. That's what
the Obama administration said they were going to focus on as well.
Well, that's the thing. They were the Obama administration in the first years. I think it was. I'm not sure where the timeline is when the Cole memo came out, but they were pretty rough on medical marijuana early on.
It sounds like they're basically going to keep doing what the Cole memo said.
Right.
Keep their options open, though.
And I think what it does basically is if some federal prosecutor or an AG really wants to go after somebody, they feel a little, like they can do it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So to say he's got some other problems on his hands, the opioid crisis, not the least of which, is at the top of the list.
There are no cannabis overdoses to be worried about.
Damn Skippy. And this next video in our national block here talks about just that, about medical marijuana and veterans. We, of course, every week like to find stories about veterans that are finding success with cannabis and their struggle. Of course, the tragic news this week in Northern California about the 3 veteran care workers and 1 veteran suffering from PTSD, who quite possibly was on the cannabis, the
combat cocktail.
The combat cocktail. They should be on the cannabis cocktail, but which involves copious amounts of flower of sativa and indica and hybrid varieties. Find your right blend anyway. But the combat cocktail was probably involved. I'm gonna just assume.
Well, a lot of people who lose their shit do so because they're on such drugs.
It's true. The side effects of using the different. Well, let's watch this video. It's actually a very good report, and put up by our friend over there in Florida, Congressman Matt Gaetz. Published this special report in the mainstream media.
Strange bedfellow
in Florida.
Matt Gaetz.
So, Matt Gaetz, he's got, of course, his son, epilepsy. I believe his son has
Yep,
epilepsy.
gets seizures.
And he wants to reschedule it to 3 for more research.
Rescheduled completely.
So, close, but no cigar. But look at Boo Boo, so cute. Okay, let's watch this video.
Here we go.
With our new sound set up for YouTube.
Here we go.
As the opioid crisis continues, some veterans say medical marijuana would be a much safer alternative for treating problems like pain and PTSD. Right now, the federal government classifies marijuana as a Schedule I drug that's alongside many opioids. It means VA doctors cannot recommend it to veterans, even when it's legal in their states. I spoke to 2 veterans who believed it could save lives.
Yeah, right?
We have more of the worst drugs in our systems now than that could ever do to us.
Matthew Ruppel grew up hating drugs. He ended up addicted to drugs, specifically opioids. It started when he was given morphine after an injury in Iraq.
I like the high. I love the invincible, destroy everything, kill mode.
That's
Not
what morphine makes you
the
feel?
one thing that I hated the most had now become the only way I could survive.
Clean since 2015, he now works to help other veterans. He says many are seeing ill effects from drugs prescribed by the VA, an assortment that varies by individual and has come to be known as the combat cocktail.
Psychotropic drug, painkiller, blood pressure. Anytime they give you something, they're going to give you an additional medication to counteract the side effects from the first one. That becomes a combat cocktail. It has become a nightmare. For a lot of guys, it starts their world of opioids.
Brenda Ross became dependent on opioids from a workplace injury years after her service in the Alabama National Guard. Medical marijuana helped her stop taking them.
I think that medical marijuana is the best answer that we have, not just for intractable pain, but for veterans that are suffering from PTSD. The cocktails are killing people. Veterans are dying every day. They are committing suicide. And they deserve the option.
Ruppel prefers the term cannabis to differentiate medical marijuana from the street drug. He does not use it because he's unsure of the effects and because the VA is a federal agency.
The federal government has got a law against it. It's a criminal act. So which do you want to lose? You want to lose your VA benefits, or would you rather be out of pain?
He wants more research and wants veterans to be given every option that might help them, including medical marijuana.
You're looking at a world that can rather you be quiet and take what we tell you than to let's hear your story and help you.
Congressman Matt Gaetz plans to present legislation to loosen restrictions on medical marijuana research. It would also partially lift the VA gag rule, allowing doctors to tell vets about research trials in their areas. And it bears mentioning the VA has cut opioid prescription rates by...
Like in Arizona.
Oh, let's watch this.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions said the Justice Department didn't have the resources to go after small-time marijuana cases, despite his hardline views against pot. Sessions said federal prosecutors haven't historically focused on routine cases involving cannabis, and that's not about to change. Sessions gave the expanding legal marijuana industry a scare in January when he rescinded what's known as the Cole Memo, an Obama-era guidance that says federal prosecutors would take a more hands-off approach on many marijuana cases in states where the drug is legal. He said the department would focus on gangs and other large-scale drug operations, but he reinforced his opposition to legal weed, saying, I am not going to tell Colorado or California or someone else that possession of marijuana is legal under United States law.
So we have to change the law. Clearly.
Hey, that's what we said.
Clearly. So we have to keep writing our Congress members, every elected official, because everything's changing now, and we have to come out that we're all cannabis users. I mean, we just have to come out. It's in states where it's legal, especially.
Oh, you brought up Brazil. I'm like, did Phil just bring up Brazil, our favorite movie in the world?
Yeah.
Produced by
Brazil.
Mnuchin? No. Milchin. Aaron Milchin produced Brazil.
It's great. It's a great film. I know.
Yeah, we're living in Brazil, people. Earth 2. That's what Art said. I feel like we live on Earth 2.
At least we have cannabis now.
Alternate Earth.
No.
Because nothing makes sense here.
It's true. Nothing
it's happening
makes
all
sense
over.
Here.
Somebody just got 7 years or something ridiculous. for cannabis somewhere.
Ridiculous.
That was Newsy picking up on the Jeff Sessions story. And Matt Gates.
Excuse me.
Gazunt. Matt Gates passing on the story about vets and their what make the is a morphine make you feel invincible? Was that he was saying?
And like kill. What the hell?
Or,
really?
Or the cocktail that I have one, thanks.
No, morphine. No, he was saying morphine, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Oh my God, it's awful. Oh, how terrible.
These guys got to get off this shit.
Oh no.
Because if that's what's behind what happened up there in Northern California,
egads.
You know,
give them some weed, man.
Yeah, dump a bunch of weed on all these places.
Give them some weed.
I mean,
Everybody
more.
needs weed.
You know, it's more this whole more research bullshit. It's just we're not buying it anymore.
No.
There's 25,000 peer-reviewed pages.
Yeah.
On cannabis.
Yeah.
Israel. Everywhere else but here.
Sorry.
is doing more, but we have it too. U.S. research.
Yeah.
Not from the vets.
Canada.
The vets have one couple of things going. They can't grow good weed, and they can't get anybody to join up because of this reason.
Yeah, because of the gag rule, they're not allowed to tell the vets.
Because of the gag rule, and because like the guy said, you lose your veterans benefits,
or you die.
From
fentanyl, opioids. All right, what's our next story?
What's worse?
You need to make us a MST 3000 frame.
Yeah,
when we do these things.
We can do that now. I can do that.
Yeah, you're gonna do that with the dog and the cat.
Yeah, I'll put
and
everybody
you and me,
in there.
it'd be so
We'll
cute.
get the big wide in there, and then we'll move on. Well, let's stay in the West Coast. Well, let's lighten it up a little bit, shall we? With some good cannabis news. Of course, we've been reporting that the job boom for cannabis is quite good.
Except for housing, it's not good.
Not good for housing. Apparently, it's good for jobs. Not good for housing, because apparently you can make a pretty good living in the cannabis industry, and on many levels. Marijuana media is something I'm interested in. And there's not a lot of money in that right now, but in other areas, I guess if I had more skill like cultivating and extracting and all of those skills.
Yeah, but marijuana media will come up.
It will. But you know, even at basically the service level, you're seeing marijuana jobs outpacing healthcare, tech jobs. You know, the number
restaurant working. Mm-hmm.
Even restaurant workers they're having trouble finding.
They're gonna have to up their game, man. They're gonna have to offer healthcare. They're gonna offer a living wage. They have to.
Restaurants are having trouble filling positions. So let's take a look.
There are
at
no
this.
more CNAs.
Oh, and CNAs, well, yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants to be a CNA.
Help wanted. Colorado restaurants are struggling.
And it's not because people aren't eating out. It's not because of the high cost of ingredients. It's because it's hard to find good help.
Denver 7's Russell Haythorne explains how the marijuana industry is gobbling up good employees.
The challenge for Colorado restaurants isn't necessarily with the waitstaff in the front of the house, as they say, but it's here in the back of the house, in the kitchen. Because as it turns out, the employees who are good at this, at food prep, can often make more money working in a place like this, where the environment is more social, less stressful, and many times less physically demanding.
It's not, 120 degrees.
Greg Leverance works as a cook at Stoney's Bar and Grill. He's happy here, but admits the allure of being a bud tender is there.
Here you're working with the menu, whereas there you can actually legitimately be creating a menu.
In a place like this,
it's always a challenge when you're this big.
18,000 square feet, 3 bars, and a full kitchen is tough to staff.
We have about 65 employees, which is a lot just for one restaurant.
Stoney's owner, Stoney Jessup, says retaining good people starts with incentives, like all expense paid, staff outings, and respecting people's time off.
You kind of have to create a culture and a good vibe, a good place where people want to work.
The Colorado Restaurant
Pay them well
Association
and give them health care.
Stoney needs to incorporate getting stoned in his restaurant.
To find good employees, factor in record low unemployment, and sometimes job openings stay posted for weeks.
Yes, it's incredibly tough in Denver.
After 8 years on Lincoln Street in Denver,
We opened in August of 2010.
Stoney's is expanding on that success, opening a second location tomorrow in Uptown, just in time for March Madness.
Hilarious.
It's the best time of year. It's the most fun time of year, I think, for sports.
But finding and retaining good help like Greg is always top of mind. Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
Interesting. A point of reference here, local restaurants usually pay $12 to $15 an hour in the kitchen. Bud tenders average $20 an hour.
In the sun. Well, $20 an hour.
Wow.
That's not bad. I mean, it's not enough, but especially since the housing prices and housing shortage in Denver is not going to be abated anytime
it's
soon.
Terrible. Hey, Carrie Mosley from London. Hi.
Hey, great. We got folks from London. Hey,
We have an international
jolly
show.
Good. Pip pip.
How exciting.
I have to work on my
No,
English.
just be American. Just
I'm
be
an
an
actor. What can I tell
Angelino. Be an Angelino. That's why they're tuning in.
That's right. Okay, well, yeah, we are actually Angelinos. born
We're
and
from
raised.
LA. My dad's in Italy, though. He's in London. He's in Rome.
He's in Rome. We're going to try to get him on the show at some point. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I don't know.
He can call in. We can get him to Skype in. Maybe.
He's not up at this time of day.
But I'm going to try to get our little, and this next video is on, I'm going to start getting our little cameras up so we can do our commentary. Now that we have to use the mic like this, we might as well embrace it. But this we're going to stay in Vegas. We're going to stay in the West.
Phil, I'm sorry. Phil,
What?
is that true?
Which?
That their tips go to the house, go to the restaurant?
I'm not, how does that,
I'm never tipping again.
wait, in the Bud? No, in the restaurant? At Stoney's? At Stoney over at Stoney's?
Trump and the National Restaurant Association passed a bill so servers' tips go to the house.
Oh, I heard about that.
You did?
I heard something about that. Even though waitresses make like $2 an hour.
Why would you be a waiter if you can't get any tips?
First they taxed you on them, and now they're what are they doing? Even Oscar's upset about that. He's getting engaged now.
Wow, Oscar, what do you think, buddy?
Got to give up your tips. My mother was a breakfast
That's
waitress.
fucked up, huh?
I have a
I
soft spot for
made it through
waitresses.
college on tips. That's what poor people do. Anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty horrendous.
All right. Hey, Real Jingy.
Real Janky in the house.
Real Jingy.
Carrie in London. Art's
This is
still here,
exciting.
and lots of good folks, lots of good chat.
All right, let's keep
that was Oscar's in the house there. He's engaging with his little THC anus.
So cute.
And this next story comes out of Vegas. We get up our comment cams. And this is from KTNV, Channel 13, Las Vegas.
The Sun is reporting tonight that the city and Clark County Commission are taking a wait-and-see approach on that issue. Among other things, they want to...
Let's actually start it from the beginning.
Oh, you're so traditional, babe.
The Sun is reporting tonight that the city and Clark County Commission are taking a wait-and-see approach on that issue. Among other things, they want to see how things go in Denver first after city leaders there recently approved a pot lounge. People in the marijuana industry say lounges are also needed in Las Vegas because visitors who buy marijuana may not have a legal place to use
Oh,
it.
I can't wait to visit the Pot Lounge in Vegas.
Oh, let's watch this one.
2019.
Oh, this is Oregon. Wait, we'll come back to that. Yeah, but it's not like the lounges up in Canada.
No?
No.
What is it?
You can eat. You can eat edibles.
Oh, it's like
and you can, I think maybe vape or oil.
You can't
I don't know.
smoke?
No, I don't know. I don't know if they're, I guess maybe some of them are getting variances possibly.
Maybe go
But I
outside.
heard the first one that they legalized, the lounge, was just coffee, bring your own edibles.
That's ridiculous.
And oil and concentrates, but no smoking.
Well, no, at the ones in Canada, you have to bring all your own shit too.
Well, that's true, and they provide all the stuff to.
But you
do
can
it.
buy coffee and tea and snacks.
Right. Well, this is no
and you
smoking.
can hang out and smoke and eat your edibles.
Maybe
with other
that
people.
changed, and they're giving some for, they're giving other variances for for stuff. So that's possible.
Well, we'll follow up on it. Will we go to Denver again, or maybe Phil will let us know?
Yeah, Phil might know right now, actually. So he could do that. Where should we put these? Okay, let's watch our good friend. I'm high, so I don't remember her name.
No, not her.
Cassidy.
The other one. Oh, Cassidy. Yeah.
Is that her
Okay.
name? No, it's the Fox girl.
Oh, Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kennedy. I was close. I was close with Cassidy. Let's go up. Let's put this up here, and we're gonna tilt up here like this. Are you there? Oh, there you are.
Are you playing Kennedy or what?
I'm playing Kennedy. Here we go.
What the hell?
As more and more people feel the need for weed, it is filling a hole in an unlikely place on an Indian reservation in Oregon.
Dead mouse fetish.
Lumber mill and a Teats-Up casino have left one tribe with 25%
We need to pay attention to the
unemployment.
Twitch chat.
The Beaver State has enjoyed legal recreational marijuana since 2015, and now the Tribal Council in Warm Springs, about 2 hours from Portland, has plans to build a 4,000 square foot indoor cannabis growery that will employ 20 folks and bring in an estimated $1.5 million a year in much needed revenue.
Oh my God.
Council members proposed using the funds for education and healthcare and inserting their reefer into Portland and Bend dispensaries, where the Native American roots will serve as a valuable marketing tool. I love this free market embrace, and I wish the Warm Springs venture capitalists all the success in their green rush. And I hope whatever strains they produce, they will be imbued with ancient healing, wisdom, and health that satisfy their curious clientele.
I love it.
I like to insert my reefer into a pipe.
I love that that's happening. And I love that Kennedy is doing a story about it.
Well, Kennedy's very
super mainstream.
Super mainstream. She's super lib. She's super libertarian.
Lots of followers.
Not liberal, libertarian.
Kind of conservative-y. I love that it's cannabis crosses so many cultures and communities.
Well, this is actually...
and unites a lot of us.
This is a fact. It does cross every demographic. I mean, we've got the craziest Republicans. The ones that actually
really
are...
crazy.
I mean, it's a lot of the middle Dems that aren't on board this.
Yes, the middle Dems are not on board. It's so weird. And it's these weird CIA Dems coming up that are totally on board, which is weird.
The CIA Dems.
It's so trippy. And also the Justice Democrats. They're cool with cannabis, which is great. But listen, I want to apologize to Dead Mouse Fetish and our Twitch watchers.
Twitch? There's people watching on Twitch?
Yes, Dead Mouse Fetish.
You're kidding me.
Has been kind enough to let us know that he found us on Twitch. But
every time I check my Twitch, nobody's ever watched a video.
Since we don't pay attention to that chat, he's come to YouTube. He found us on Twitch.
There it is.
Every time I check
my Twitch, nobody's ever watched a video.
Since we don't pay attention.
Wait, let me mute this.
So sorry, Twitch.
Oh, it still says nobody's in there. He left. He left to come, but he left to come over to.
I'm super stoked you're here.
He left to come over to YouTube.
Anyway.
Well, sorry, Dead Mouse Fetish. I'll get another. We need like all the other streamers in the world. We needed a couple of more monitors to
look at. What can I tell you?
Look at everything. We are going out. Well, since Dead Mouse Fetish brought that up in the YouTube chat, let me just tell you where we are going out, folks. This is,
as
of
long
course,
as we're still on YouTube, we're going to tell you.
We're going to do it through this new system until they figure out how to shut it down that way.
That's right.
Daily Dope Show says, now that's fair use, running the speaker through the microphone. But we are going out for now over YouTube. Subscribe to the channel that's here now. Get notifications. And we are going out over Twitch. And we are going out over Periscope, Facebook, Stream Me, YouNow, and D-Live over on Steemit, as well, of course, as on Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network, going out live on our own channel over there and on their main broadcast live page. So thanks, Weed TV, for putting this out over there, because we are talking about normalizing and mainstreaming cannabis and recreational use. This is DC 420 LA, the Week in Weed. We do this show every Sunday at 4:20 Pacific, with Coach Chella. I'm Dave Conan, and we make blunt commentary on a higher level on marijuana in the mainstream media, the politics of pot, and cannabis cures. So all of our videos are, of course, fall under fair use as far as we're concerned, because we are commenting on them and using them for educational purposes.
Yes.
YouTube won't even let me monetize my channel.
No.
If I wanted to.
And we're super stoked that there are mainstream outlets doing cannabis commentary. I mean, cannabis stories.
Believe me,
we can comment.
We hear every week people watch the show and follow us on Twitter and other places wherever we're at on the platforms at DC420LA. That hey, I didn't see that story last week.
Yeah.
You know, thanks for letting me know about that.
Yeah.
Because people find local news to be actually one of the most trustworthy news sources. Now, the Reefer Madness stories, which we have a couple this week. Barring the Wheat Reefer Madness stories, because you get those too, but we'd like to bring those out and talk about them and critically look at those. And we have an addiction doctor making his rounds, his normal Reefer Madness rounds in Florida or in Oklahoma.
No, in Oklahoma. He's from Texas.
From Texas, right?
Oh,
so and there's something coming up in Oklahoma about legalizing medical marijuana. So he's making his rounds of Reefer Madness. We're going to see that. And as a matter of fact, that's it in the West. So let's move into the South and take a look at that video. Dr. Not So Feel Good is going to be the first one I'm going to play since we're talking about it. So
this guy.
Let's go to this is from News 9 in Oklahoma City. And this is Texas addiction doctor warns Oklahomans about the dangers of marijuana. Check it out. Dun, dun, dun. Now we've got comment cam happening.
Comment cam.
On the scene, on the story, this is News 9.
On the scene.
A Texas doctor has crossed state lines to speak out about the dangers of marijuana. His visit comes ahead of this summer's vote to legalize medical marijuana here in Oklahoma.
Chronic pain patients are hoping it passes, but News 9's Jesse Mitchell breaks down the doctor's concerns.
Thanks, Chingy.
Dr. Harold Urschel is speaking to the Oklahoma Medical Board in about an hour about the effect of marijuana on the brain. He says he sees the impact it can have on people through his work at an addiction treatment facility. Urschel says, don't believe the myth, marijuana is addictive. He says the recent dramatic increase in levels of the drug psychoactive compound THC isn't helping users.
The better high you get, and the more destructive it is to the brain, and the longer it lasts in your brain.
Supporters of State Question 788 argue medical marijuana typically has a low THC percentage, however, in favor of a higher CBD level, which patients love for its therapeutic properties.
The main compound in marijuana is non-addictive and non-toxic to humans. It's the main compound in medical marijuana.
Many Oklahomans are already turning to legalize CBD products for help with chronic conditions, but are banking on medical marijuana to give them further relief.
Sooner born, sooner bred. When I die, I'm sooner dead, but I might not be because I don't want to stay here if I'm not going to have access.
Urschel says that if the measure does pass, there should be stricter regulations put in place here than in other states.
We could know who's getting the marijuana, what is it for, what's the dose they're getting, how long they're using it, all these things that are not being tracked in any way, shape, or form or fashion.
Ideally, though, he wants patients who are battling pain and addiction to seek out mental health help or speak to a religious leader in the community to uncover the root cause of their dependency.
The fact is, opiates are really bad for you. Marijuana is really bad for you. We should be having neither.
You can cast your vote on the issue June 26th. In the newsroom, Jesse Mitchell, News 9.
This doctor is not well informed. Which, again, is why we all need to be writing all of our elected officials.
He's well informed with the talking points of the Reefer Madness crowd.
Yes, and he's about that age, isn't he? No offense to those of that age. I mean, those of that age in this chat room are all cool. But what happened to some of you? Some of you were cool, like my parents and Phil and some other folks. But, like your parents, they were cool. Like that doctor. That doctor's not cool.
My parents never got exposure to it. Well, okay, so let's talk about that doctor for a second. That doctor makes his living in the addiction racket.
Right.
You know, what did he say? 20%? Was it 20% of his clients are addicted to marijuana, which, that's questionable as it is. The studies, even recent studies, show that it's not addictive.
Yeah.
But beyond that, he's making money off the addiction, getting off of opioids, essentially, and not doing a very good job. Based on the numbers, not seeing a lot of success from this guy going around wasting his time trying to shut down medical marijuana in places where they just want some goddamn CBD.
Yeah.
Not even California weed.
Or Southern Oregon weed.
Or Southern Oregon weed. And, but, it's...
Or Maui Wowie.
So this guy's making a lot of money, making his living back in Texas, getting people off of opioids and alcohol. Sure, that's a revolving door action. And telling people not to bother using cannabis, which every week there's a new report. Just tweeted one out this morning at DC420 LA about how cannabis treats pain and lowers opioid addiction.
Cannabis does treat pain and lower opioid addiction.
Because it does.
Because it does.
When you recreate, you medicate, but boy, when you medicate, it really, really works. And it's just they're gonna beat this drum until the millennials have all taken all the office, all the offices and all the dinosaurs are out, and or they get on board.
Yeah.
They get on board like Bernie and who really legitimately wants to do it, as opposed to say the neoliberal corporate Dems who are, it's an election year, so everybody loves the number 2 issue in the country. Now it's guns and cannabis, which that guy nailed both of. Wolf, he jumped on top of both of the main issues.
Stop talking about him.
Yeah, it's just pissed me off.
Stop.
Okay.
I know it's irritating.
Real Jingy. I'm going to use those suggestions and see if that works. That's a very good point. Thank you very much. Changing some settings in YouTube. I don't know if it's going to work on this broadcast, so we're just going to keep this up for now. But thank you very much for that suggestion. Thanks everybody for being in the chat. Let's look at, since we don't want to talk about that other guy anymore.
No.
And we are in the South.
Yes.
And let's talk about another guy we don't know a whole lot about.
Beto?
This is, but we came across him because,
this guy.
This video.
Made the guy that he was in the military.
That's right.
More deep staters.
Let me see. I need to find this.
Maybe he's CIA too.
So let me bring up his,
like he who shall not be named.
Here's the thing. Let's be clear. Thomas Benjamin Wolf was not in the military. He was in foreign service and a number of other things, but he never served in the military.
Yeah,
which was one of the big issues around him. And
because he used the word served, and
and he didn't.
He didn't serve in the military.
In that way.
Didn't.
Right.
He didn't clarify how his use of serve.
It was misleading. And I'd have to say it was.
I definitely got the feeling that he was in
it.
Yeah.
But this guy is Ojeda.
Yes, Ojeda.
Richard Ojeda.
Ojeda. Mm-hmm.
And he is in. He's an Army veteran, community leader, and he's currently a state senator
in West Virginia. Where Representative Garrett serves in the United States Congress and is a champion of cannabis with H.R. 1227 and Tulsi Gabbard co-sponsoring. So West Virginia seems to be really hot for at least medical cannabis, and you know how that goes.
Well, Richard was instrumental in that, and let's we're going to watch a couple of videos from him. This is his this week. He testified before, looks like the state Senate.
Richard Ojeda.
Ojeda.
Who is a
OJ.
currently serving state representative.
He's a current state senator.
Senator, yeah.
For West Virginia. VoteOjeda.com. He's running for national office. House, I think. I would think. He's probably running for House. But let's see. We'll watch his campaign ad. After we watch this, his video this week, I think yesterday maybe, on the floor of the West Virginia Senate.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it's good.
Check it.
If we're trying to do away with things that are dangerous, then how come we haven't attacked alcohol? Because there's more accidents and probably more deaths that have occurred with alcohol than marijuana.
Yeah, and it contributes to growing
Marijuana's
cancer.
not addictive. The senator from Oregon just stood up and spoke about how marijuana helps so many different illnesses out there. Schedule 1 narcotics are drugs that have no medical purpose, but yet it helps Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, severe ADHD, PTSD, Crohn's disease, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with what we have in front of us, but that's what we have. You know, we created and passed historic legislation last year. We created a medical marijuana board that is full of experts. Dr. Gupta is one of them. We have a patient advocate that is an actual cancer survivor that are telling us what works. And I think it's important for us to finally open our eyes and realize that we can help so many people. Did God make a mistake? Did he make a mistake when he gave us that seed that was used for thousands of years to heal its people? And only until alcohol and the paper industry got in the middle of it is when it became villainized. It's time for us to open our eyes and do what we can to try to help the people in our state that have been struggling for far too long, that desperately need the ability to have some relief from the illnesses that our people face. Because the truth is, poor people get cancer more than rich people because poor people drink from the tap. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah. And cannabis is way cheaper than chemo. And chemo kills people.
And let me tell you something.
Studies indicate 50% of people die from chemo.
The water just ain't just shitty in West Virginia. For the poor people
and the
either.
teachers in West Virginia have just done a good thing too. So I think shit's changing in at least in West Virginia.
West Virginia on fucking point.
Right?
All of this stuff.
Yeah, you're right, Art. Thanks for bringing it up.
What's that?
About West Virginia teachers.
Yeah, that
was all Art.
Totally, word on, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at his. He has a number of campaign videos, and this one is his cannabis one.
Yeah, his stance on cannabis.
His stance on cannabis, which looks at someone who is being helped with cannabis. So here we go.
I thought I knew what it meant to be sick. Until chemotherapy happened, I had no idea. The nausea and the vertigo and the loss of appetite, all of these things that you read about. So I would leave the hospital and the world would be spinning so violently I couldn't open my eyes, and within 30 seconds of one hit of cannabis, that would stop. The first year I started lobbying, I really didn't know what I was doing. The high rates of cancer that we have in this state, it is absolutely my job to be their voice. He was going to do what he said, and he was going to fight for this, and he refused to turn his back on the patients of West Virginia, and that is why we're the 29th state to legalize medical cannabis.
They know that when I come back here, all I have done was try to help. I've tried to send kids to school with new shoes on their feet. We've pulled over 1,000 tires out of these creeks. Medical marijuana passed in the state of West Virginia. They said it would never get on a committee floor. And we got it done with nothing. This place deserves to thrive again.
This video is called Richard Ojeda 2018, Medical Cannabis. The time is now. And that's on his YouTube page, which is Richard Ojeda 2018.
Yeah.
So, yeah, came across him, that video of him on the state Senate floor, West Virginia.
It is.
And that's his website, Medical Cannabis, right up there.
Yeah, so share that with your West Virginia friends. I wonder if he's a Justice Democrat, what his story is.
Well, I doubt it, because I'll tell you why. If you click on the healthcare tab,
I see.
He does, well, maybe, who knows? He's for a public option.
Maybe he's just hiding his universal healthcare stance because that won't play in his district.
Because of West Virginia, maybe.
But a public option sounds a little more less socialized medicine-y.
And tax credits.
Oh.
And supporting Obamacare. So, we may not agree on everything, but...
I know strange bedfellows. Hey, listen, Representative Garrett, we can all agree on weed, so let's just keep talking about where we agree.
We all agree, well, not all of us, but most of us agree on weed. Most of the people, certainly in the country.
People agree on weed.
That's right.
Not to disparage the non-sane.
There is Richard Ojeda. Meanwhile, this is from Louisville, Kentucky. This video, thanks to WLKY News Louisville. Louisville? Probably Louisville. Louisville? Kentucky. I think this is Louisville. Just the names.
Anyway.
That's these videos. Whenever they put these videos up, they never put the state in there. So if you don't know exactly, and there's plenty of names of cities in different states, so it's like, dig a little deeper. But let's check this out. Medical marijuana opponents make their case. Here's some of those opponents we're talking about.
The Reefer Madness people.
The opponents spoke to the House Judiciary Committee in a special called meeting. House Bill 166 would allow some patients with certain medical conditions to buy and use marijuana, but those opposed say the harm would outweigh the benefits. They questioned the medicinal value of marijuana and worried the idea is a step toward fully legalizing recreational marijuana. They also called marijuana a gateway drug that leads to harder drugs and other problems.
It ignores the correlation between marijuana use and crime, the inevitable trafficking problem that would be created across state and local boundaries as a result of that legalization, and the potential economic and social costs that would thusly be incurred. Communities have been crippled by drug abuse and addiction, stifling economic productivity.
Now, we spoke to advocates of medicinal marijuana afterwards who say that the opponents' concerns were overblown. They say 29 states have already legalized medicinal marijuana, and they say their bill actually draws on the best practices in each of those states to minimize the opponents' concerns. Live in Frankfurt, Mark Vanderoff, WLKY News.
So, got your same, roll out the list of reefer madness, gateway drug.
Totally. Real
greatest
TV,
hits.
I think not only should you share those videos with this council member who is so behind the times, you should also tell all your friends in your community to write him postcards telling their personal story about cannabis on postcards so that, he can't really track them down.
We're a big fan of postcards.
But it's from his district because it has the zip code on it and they're handwritten, and elected officials really count those as a big deal.
But, you're going to put, if you put your address on a postcard, that's out there for everybody. You don't, right?
You just send it to, it's just two goes on a postcard.
Right. No, that's right. Okay. I guess, you do all the postcard writing. So Oscar, feeling good today? Feeling good? Playing on camera, being near Mama?
He won't
out
go
of his
on
cave.
The all on camera side. I was trying to move him.
He's on camera.
You could really see
on camera. You're on. He's on the wide shot of you.
All
You're
right.
good. He looks good there. He's hanging out
so
with Mama.
Cute.
Super cute. He's definitely more engaged today. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So,
marijuana legislation, we can't even get everybody to stay home when a bunch of people are killed all the time from gun violence. So, Art was just saying that, can you imagine how fast we'd get change if a whole state refused to go to work until marijuana legislation was passed?
That'd be interesting.
We gotta keep sending in those postcards and keep normalizing cannabis and the idea of
and
cannabis.
There's you have the
Cannabis
Lexis Bortel and their case working its way through the Supreme Court.
Share these stories with the people.
That's going to be there. It's being appealed right now to the Second Circuit because it was dismissed.
I've started talking about it at work to people.
Being appealed.
And boy, are people like surprised that I know so much about cannabis.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, wow, you know a lot about cannabis.
We're definitely wearing it on our sleeve, folks. I know what I'm saying?
And on our socks. See my socks?
I got mine on, too. It's a little harder for me to put them up. But support the channel by subscribing to YouTube for as long as we're here. We're going to try making some adjustments. But follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, where you'll see pictures of Oscar Grumbledore and the kitty boo-boo. And also on D-Live right now over Steam It Blockchain.
Twitch.
Give us a thumbs up. Twitch. We're going out over Twitch.
Yeah, sorry we didn't.
We're going to have to figure out how to, once we start getting more viewers in these places, we're going to have to start monitoring their chats.
Yeah.
Because we are spreading our wings to educate folks about cannabis and inform people about what's going on in their communities across the country here in America in the legalization effort of cannabis. And on a federal level as well as from state to state.
It has to be federal.
Well, it has to
be. Nursing home patients can get it. Hi, buddy.
Well, that is definitely and vets, right?
Yeah, so,
veterans. Oh, he's so lovey-dovey right now.
And veterinarians.
Great, go THCA, awesome. All right, well, let's check out this. Let's start. Punta Gorda. I did not call you that. I'm sorry, Chella. I was not calling you Punta Gorda, whatever that means.
What is that?
It's apparently a town.
Okay.
I think it's in Florida.
Let's do it.
Help me out, people. Is Punta Gorda in Florida? Let's see.
I'll look it up.
Let's see if it actually says it.
I will GTS.
Because they never say where they're from. I guess they assume everybody that's watching their news is
local. News.
Right, it's local. So even on YouTube, they don't tell you where the fuck they're from. It's hilarious. Stoner problems. Hey, I'll put that. I gotta write a joke about that.
Yeah, totally. Go on.
Okay, here we go. Our friends are telling us. Tell us at the back of the end of this video. Here we go. Punta Gorda.
Living in Punta Gorda could soon have medical marijuana available in the city. City Council voted yesterday afternoon to lift a ban that had been in place since August of last year. The ban was originally supposed to last a year. In October, the City Council discussed a permanent ban, but didn't move forward with it. In November of 2016, voters approved Amendment 2, allowing medical marijuana statewide.
Florida. There's always clues in there.
Florida.
There's the scroll on the bottom which said Fort Myers on it, so that's Florida. Punta Gorda, Florida, lifting the ban. Bans on, bans off. Bans on, bans off. The bans are on in a lot of places, and then as soon as they realize what they're missing out on,
we want some of that
marijuana money.
Yeah.
What's going on? They're going to charge us. We got, was it 30 to 60% tax going on across California right now? Real tax battle. Berkeley's lowering their city tax in order to stop people from being driven to the black market.
Well, Berkeley is also letting people out of jail and expunging records and doing all kinds of good things.
Yeah,
maybe not letting
people
out of jail.
It's a mixed bag. More good than not, I think. I don't know. We'll see. But Punta Gorda, Florida, congratulations. No ban. You might get some marijuana out there. Some cannabis. Because everybody could use a little cannabis. It's true.
Look at this doggy. So cute.
Even the doggy. Punta Gorda is a place where the sheriff shot the woman in that class for gun safety.
Wow, cool.
You have to put all the links in the descriptions for connections. There you go. Good.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Do that. That's very good. I need to do that.
We can do that ahead of time.
I can do that ahead of time. Yeah, if I just have a little more planning and a little less
more
weed.
time. A little more time. Anyway,
little more time.
Next story.
But that's a really good suggestion, Real
Yes,
Jinky.
thank you, Real Jinky.
I will do that. I usually end up putting the whole playlist. Maybe that's what I can do, because I make the playlist and then I'll just throw the playlist in and make it public when I start the thing. That's one way to do it, because that's usually what I do. I usually put the playlist in. Yeah. But I could put the links. But then, anyway.
Go on.
We're out of the South. Moving on. We've had now a politician in West Virginia. Seems like the real deal on cannabis and whatever other issues he's got going. We'll see.
Richard Ojeda. And one of our favorite guys, and I'm so glad to see him back in politics, is Dennis Kucinich. I love Dennis Kucinich. He's the real deal, that guy.
The only other person who got us to register as a Democrat to vote in a primary.
I love him. Sheepdog. I love him, though. He's always walking the right talk, man.
Well...
And he's on board for cannabis.
And they fucked him, boy. Boy, did they fuck him.
You know that he's a good guy when the Democratic machine fucked him.
Yeah, it's a true story.
You know it.
All right, well,
let's see.
This is just a quick little blurb on recreational marijuana legalization. He's came out with a statement this week.
Oh, sweet.
It was in the news. Mary Jane picked up on it. There's the Mary Jane article. Ohio gubernatorial candidate Dennis Kucinich promises to legalize cannabis.
Ohio.
If elected.
Dennis Kucinich is your candidate.
He's
Even
a good guy.
Vegan.
His running mate is an African-American woman, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's on board all the right stuff. So let's take a look at just a short little blurb of him talking about it.
I want to know about legalization of your stance on legalization of marijuana for recreational.
I don't have a problem with that at all. Now look, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I never did drugs. I know, I'm bored. But I think what we need to explore is this. Legalization, regulation, licensing. The state could make hundreds of millions of dollars you could then pour into some of the health initiatives that I'll be unveiling. So I think there's a connection there. But I don't have
money. Everybody wants some of that marijuana money.
Actually, in Congress, I took a pretty strong stand for those things, and I'm consistent on that. And I do appreciate you raising the question.
So he says that he doesn't do it. He's vegan, of course.
He's vegan. He believes in plants.
But hasn't imbibed. Catholic.
Ever?
Was Catholic.
Ever?
But that doesn't matter because it doesn't mean anything with regards to cannabis.
Yeah.
But
But
I think he was a little more emphatic.
Yes, Art. Yes, we all love Kucinich. I spread this show to all the good progressive pages that I know. Because
it started out as a progressive political page.
That's true. So some of you are already subscribed.
We kind of pulled the bait and switch on a lot of folks.
Yes, and now you're subscribed to a marijuana show.
Now you're subscribed to a marijuana show. So good job there.
Good job, Dave.
But
all along.
And I know that
and to suck me in.
I get people unsubscribing all the time too. But please, if you do like this content, oh no, then hit the do not answer. We're almost done, so we can call back, or somebody, unless it's your dad, we can get him on the phone.
How do I turn it off? Volume.
Okay, let's see if we have any more stories in the South. You can just hit enter, and don't, and it'll stop. There you go. So let's see what else we got in the news this week. Did we do the East? No, we didn't do the East.
No, all those New Jersey and the Massachusetts and the Delaware.
Yeah. Okay, let's roll through a couple of stories.
We have family in New Jersey.
I don't know, is Zox or
no
Upstate
Zox today.
Raider? No, but they're not in there yet. Maybe they'll jump in. But those are some East Coast folks that are looking at New York and New Jersey legalization. So we like to find stories about that.
And gateway show, yeah.
This is, we're going to roll through a couple of clips from New Jersey. One from CBS New York and one from NJTV. Unmute.
Jersey Assembly Oversight Committee will hear from experts on legalizing recreational marijuana. It's the first action taken in the Assembly on the issue since the new Democratic Speaker took over leadership of the chamber this year. Governor Phil Murphy has pledged to make recreational marijuana legal. He says it will take some time. Murphy estimates marijuana legalization could bring in roughly $300 million in state revenue. Recreational marijuana legal in 9 states and in D.C.
It's not often that you get a standing room only crowd at the Assembly Oversight, Reform, and Federal Relations Committee, but such is the interest in New Jersey's proposed marijuana legalization bill. Scores of speakers signed up to testify in addition to those who were invited to submit testimony by the committee.
Today's meeting has a singular purpose, and that is to listen, be educated, and ask questions of clarification based upon the testimony given today.
Invited guests included lawmakers and government officials from states with legalized marijuana programs and witnesses who shared their experiences with the plant's positive medical effects.
Creating a path to prosperity for people with past marijuana convictions by expunging their records and explicitly allowing them to own and work for cannabis companies is one of the most important steps we can take toward justice and economic empowerment for the communities that have been harmed.
What we did with the first $40 million of our excise tax is we dedicated that to school construction in Colorado. All over the state, mostly rural schools, have an increase in capital construction budget that they didn't have previously.
Listen, I've got 99 problems, but thanks to cannabis therapy, addiction to opioids is not one of them.
Which is awesome. Awesome.
But opponents were relegated to the latter portion of the program. There is a perception that their points of view are in the minority in the legislature.
They are.
But they are making their voices heard, even if it means waiting over an hour to do it. Are you getting the sense that this thing is a train that's not going to be stopped?
I think there's significant disagreement within the Democratic Party that legalization is the right way to go. And so I'm not terribly surprised it's been front-loaded with supporters. I think opponents will be able to give their say as well.
The seizure of illegal marijuana in 2017, after we legalized it there for retail sales, increased 47%.
Oh no!
Over
The dog's peeing inside,
so
dude.
the legal market is flourishing.
Fuck me, man.
5 other
Are you kidding?
scheduled on this issue
No.
through June. And that's before a bill is even introduced, meaning that before too long,
That's where it is, on that
all
map.
anybody around here is going to be talking about. In Trenton, I'm David Cruz, and JTV News.
Breaking news. The dog peed on the floor. Breaking news.
The curtain. Sorry, we're having a home emergency.
Live TV, folks.
Shit. That's a bad dog. Oh
Take
my God.
a wide shot of the action.
This is terrible. Oh my God. I'm going outside.
Oscar.
Man. Jeez.
I wonder if that's where the cat did it.
Maybe that's why.
There was a mystery because of the rain. That might be it. Look at him just sitting up there. What? The cat's like, what?
All of you. God.
He's
Okay,
never
so
done that.
sorry.
Maybe he is affected by the THCA.
No, it's raining, and the door was half closed.
Oh, is it raining now?
The door was half closed.
Might have something to do with it. He's a good boy. You're usually a good boy, buddy.
Sorry,
What's going
guys. God, what a nightmare today. Sorry,
on?
everybody.
Nightmare? What do you mean? It's just life.
It's
That's life.
It's so...
Oscar and Boo Boo tormenting Mom. Our car got hit this week too. Weird energy.
No, but awesome. Also, we had a great thing happen this week. Yes, Mumbleina, thank you. We're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
The dog pissed on the floor.
Ay. Okay, so let me tell you this amazing thing that happened, you guys.
His dog pissed.
No.
Commentary?
Do we have more news?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe he was commenting on the.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Let's roll through. We got more in the east. Let's roll.
go.
Let's roll through a few.
Look at those pets.
You want to clean up?
No, I threw the mat outside.
They're super cute. In the big
They're
wide.
like what? No big deal.
Like what? What? Well, you know, those are $5. Those are $5 IKEA mats. We could use a couple of more.
Yeah, no, I threw it out.
They've probably
It's done.
been peed on. I bet you that's what it is.
He's
Bet
too
you that's what it
adorable.
is. All right.
Next.
Okay, let's roll through a couple of. There you go, Mumbo, New Jersey.
Here's your New Jersey. That's
that was
right.
New Jersey.
I need a virgin hit here. Let's hear.
Well, spark up that last dude. It's
God,
about time
that
to spark
dog.
up that last dude.
Look at those pets.
All right, we're gonna move out of New Jersey up to Massachusetts, where recreational is on the way, folks.
Yes, I repeat, we are old people who smoke pot and talk about the news.
That's us. Welcome to the show.
Pot news. Here it comes. Watch.
We occasionally throw in some real news, some other news. This is real, but this is what we're passionate about. So welcome to the show. And Ivory Petite. And here we go. This is a couple of stories out of Massachusetts, and we'll comment while we're rolling because of our new system. Here we go.
Old people smoke pot too.
Old people smoking pot.
Here.
It's
and we're middle-aged.
Recreational marijuana set to be available for adults in Massachusetts to buy in July. And with this vote, the Cannabis Control Commission moved one step closer to making that happen, approving the statewide regulations.
We have a lot of work to do in terms of building our staff, building our technology, but I think we have a good foundation based upon these regulations, so yes, I am confident.
The commission chose these warning labels to be on every marijuana product sold. Chairman Steve Hoffman says they'll be ready to start accepting applications for licenses April 1st, but cities and towns will have the final say.
We can't dictate whether cities and towns approve. We can't dictate the pace. So we are relying on collaborating with them as we've done all along.
There's no limit on the number of licenses that will be released. Priority for licenses will be given to existing medical marijuana dispensaries, which are now regulated by the state. As of now, no word on how many retail stores will open.
Once I think we start accepting applications, which is April 1st, I think we'll be in a much better position to give a forecast about that. But right now, I have no idea how many applications we're going to get.
And for now, delivery of marijuana and bars and cafes serving marijuana won't be allowed. The commission delayed working on those regulations until October.
Ed? WCVB, Channel 5 Boston.
Phil is saying that if the blue wave don't happen, roll forward the green wave coast to coast. But I think that anybody who's going to win in 2018 is going to be somebody who's pro-cannabis. So that's what I think.
I can almost guarantee it.
Yep.
You watch.
Yep.
You watch. West Virginia?
West Virginia? Yeah. I mean, come on.
It's going to be pro-cannabis, absolutely.
Totally.
We're going to watch that happen. I predicted that the fucking guy in Illinois is going to win, but
no, that guy's terrible.
Why do you run? Why? It's just megalomania, malignant narcissism. I don't know. You just right. Play a video. Jill's like, I'm coughing. We're talking about the guy. Play a video. All right. The next story.
When you've been together this long, you don't need words.
Out of Massachusetts.
We've had over 60 appointments booked in the first week.
Oh, no, this is Pennsylvania.
Lancaster, and that's pretty exciting for us.
This is the first day medical marijuana has been legally sold in Lancaster County. Ryan Smith operates Cure and says the demand is there.
So we're definitely seeing pain. That's typically the most common, but we've seen autism.
As these dispensaries are opening up, they're already facing one challenge: keeping enough product in stock.
Yeah. We're actually currently just being very cautious and sort of, I have to say, some degree rationing the amount of medicine that we're allowing patients to purchase.
Smith believes these growing pains will subside when more growers get the green light to move product, also lowering the medicine's price.
His prices will moderate.
He also supports the Medical Marijuana Advisory Board's recommendation to allow the plant's leaf to be used and turned into medicine.
One of the real big reasons that we're all pushing for plant form is it's going to be less expensive. It's actually a less expensive process.
Cure has 3 pharmacists on hand to help patients with what dosage and form of the medicine to take. In Lancaster County, Barbara Barr, News 8.
Delaware!
People have been singing about marijuana since the 70s.
Long before
Decades later,
Cannabis supporters are still pushing
since the 20s, actually.
to make recreational marijuana legal in Delaware. Trying to get House Bill 110 passed through the State House and Senate for a second straight year after seeing no movement last summer.
I believe that lawmakers are taking the time to carefully consider this measure.
The Delaware Cannabis Advocacy Group says 100,000 Delawareans are already using recreational pot. The group believes the state, not criminals, should be in control.
It's a public safety nightmare to allow the criminal market to control this lucrative cash crop.
So the group met with lawmakers, including Representative Charles Postles. The result?
I'm opposed to HB 110.
His reason?
There is proven evidence that can be permanent damage done to the brain while it's still in its developing stages.
Marijuana supporters say it isn't true.
They know cannabis isn't dangerous. They know it's not the reason why violent crime exists.
All of which will be up for debate. As for Representative Rich Collins, he is against the bill because he believes marijuana usage leads to a long string of addiction.
I've heard the most heartrending stories of people dying from opioids, but when I go and talk to so many people who freely admit they
Here it comes.
A huge
Here it comes.
Of them started on marijuana.
Marijuana supporters have an uphill climb to get HB 110 passed, but by no means are they giving up on the war. In Dover, I'm Timothy Parker for WRGE Delmarva Zone, NBC station.
Write all your elected officials.
Horseshit.
Send them postcards.
That's on the list. That's on the top 10. Top 10 horseshit. Try to stop
Buy
marijuana.
or make postcards, but send them. Send them.
Now, should kids do it? If it's not medicinally necessary in some form?
I don't think it's a great idea.
No.
You know, no more so than alcohol or diet pills.
Hey, I didn't start till I was over at 25, so.
I was 21, but I did smoke a couple times when I was a teenager with my family.
Yeah, once when I was under 30, and then didn't start till after 30. About 25 years ago.
What are you saying?
I'm not sure what changed 25 years ago.
What are you saying?
It's been great ever since. So, but there you go. A little bit of reefer madness. Throw on top of that report about the push in Delaware for legal marijuana, recreational style.
So especially if you're in Delaware, make sure you write all of your elected officials, all of your positive stories about cannabis.
Phil Britton suggesting some merchandise. We'll have to come up with a design. Now that we've got our logo.
I think it should be made from hemp.
Everybody like our new DC 420 LA little thing going on down there, and the main logo there, and then the thing down there, over there, and down there. So yeah, maybe I was also thinking a Daily Dope Show. He's got a shirt which has his state's mark. I think I forget which it is right now because I'm stoned, brand. But I was thinking a shirt with maybe all of the. All of the states that have, legal recreational, and they have laws that have come up with ways to, identify content of THC, and just do a whole, every state. Do it like a map. Oh, that would be
interesting.
Like a map, right? With the different logos for the THC. That'd be pretty cool. Somebody's going to steal that idea. Maybe somebody could design it. Maybe somebody could design it for the show. That'd be great.
Send us one.
Because we don't make any money on this channel, purely for educational reasons, and the love of the passion about the subject because of how beneficial it's been in our lives on so many different levels, and in treatment for
dementia, cancer, anxiety, headaches,
giving a fuck,
or letting go of that. Excuse me.
Because there's one of the big stereotypes. Part of the problem with normalizing cannabis and mainstreaming cannabis is you have a lot of stereotypes that you come up against, right? You know, you get a lot of breakthroughs. You know, there's one of the stereotypes is that people that smoke pot all day long, it makes you lazy. And that is absolutely, there's no evidence of that. That's absolutely not true. I have been lazy my whole life. So it has nothing to do with cannabis. But I digress. No, not really. It's about cannabis. So yeah, there's a lot of stigma and a lot of bullshit that we got to get through. And there you go. Perfect example of it, what's going up in Delaware. But they all come out, but nothing's going to stop the cannabis train. We are the Pineapple Express, if you will. This cannabis train going through the Tunnel of Green all over the United States. So there we go. I think that's it for our East Coast block, babe.
All right.
And we did Ohio, we did the South, we did the West, we did the East, and I think we're done.
Oh.
I think we're done for the night.
We've hit it all.
We've hit it all.
All right. Well, I'm loving the mainstreaming of cannabis. I'm hating that the big national news story regarding cannabis this week was so crappy.
Yeah, bad news.
You know?
It
was so splashy, and he should have been so good, but he really was so bad. And it's no bueno. And it's really extremely irksome that that people might be using, you know, this splashy, flashy, sexy subject to get ahead. And that's what's happening in Illinois' 5th district race.
It sure looks like it. You know, and until the evidence to the contrary, other than candidate statements, comes up, you know, is this all going to turn out to be a big, you know, WikiLeaks, you know, Julian Assange kind of attack from a bunch of hillbots? Who knows? I mean, it sure doesn't look like it because the stories keep piling up.
But you know what?
As these always do.
Because it's this time in our culture, this Me Too moment, it was always my, whatever, bye Felicia. It was always my inclination to vote for, you know, someone who would definitely not have a Me Too problem. And so, you know, it's time anyway. I mean, it's my inclination always to you know, vote for populist candidates who are on the same page as me. And this year, I think we have to ask the question. Do you have a Me Too problem?
Yeah.
Might you have a Me Too problem?
Question number 1.
Apparently we have to ask. Because people with Me Too problems have so much fucking nerve that they are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to run for Congress. Oh yeah, no problem. No.
No.
So to quote, I repeat, bye Felicia.
Bye Felicia.
To Benjamin Thomas Wolfe.
It was, you know, the cannabis gods giveth and the cannabis gods taketh away.
Yeah.
That was a quick rise to fame in the cannabis world.
Yeah,
and a very, very almost faster fall from grace.
Super fast.
Where even this silly little weed show
Yeah.
didn't respond anymore to getting him on the show.
Yeah.
So we hope you have enjoyed today's show, however, even though we didn't speak to Benjamin Thomas Wolfe.
Yeah.
When we thought we were at the beginning of the week last week.
You know,
but
we
did talk about some
him on,
interesting
but we don't
stories.
want to talk to this person.
You know, I'd invite some other people on to ask some questions, you know, some maybe local journalists out there. But I think we're just gonna other than letting people know about what's going on out there in this race.
Yeah, cannabis news only.
And, you know, passing on more information from you know, folks I'm now following out there in this race. The vote is next Tuesday, week from this Tuesday. So we'll report on what happens, folks, here on DC 420
It's
LA.
all a big fazool. As my dad would say.
Did your dad just jump into YouTube? Because that's what he would say.
But Real Jinky is going on about it, and I'm just saying I agree. It's all a big fazool. You know, get to know the candidates and vote your conscience, and what can you do?
That's it.
Try to live your life and stand up for what's right.
And get high and have a good...
get high and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, get high and have a good time, as Bob Seger used to say.
Go green.
Go green.
Go green.
Been a great show. A very dynamic week, folks.
Yeah, crazy time.
Don't think that's going to change. Cannabis is on the ballot in more ways than one. Even if it's not on the ballot, it's on the ballot nationally in national elections.
Yeah.
Politicians all over the country.
Write your Congress members. Write all of your elected officials. Write them a postcard.
I guarantee there's somebody in your state that is looking to pass some kind of legislation on cannabis.
Yeah.
If they're not, they should be.
Send them postcards. Let them know this is an election year. Now's our time.
That's right. And they all want to do it. And I still think there's only Kirsten Gillibrand has co-sponsored Cory Booker's bill.
Cory Booker.
So
it's rough. It's tough to support him.
Yeah, they're full of shit too. It's just
everybody's full of shit.
This guy was not as good as covering his shit than a lot of these other folks are.
Yeah.
So
anyway, enjoy yourself with your cannabis and have a good evening.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to all our new viewers this week, contributors into the chat, Art, and Ivory Petite.
Ivory
Petite.
Bye, Felicia.
Real Jingy. And of course, lots of our regulars, Phil Britton, Mumbolina's in there.
Yeah.
And all the folks watching over on Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, on Steemit, on DLive there, on the Steemit blockchain community, as well as on WeedTV.com, the Cannabis Media Network. Join us next week at 4:20 on Sundays for DC 420 LA, the Week in Weed. Pot for Peace. Follow us on all the socials at DC420LA. See you next week.
Bye.
I'll play it this way. Ha 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 ha. The toys. Go buy this from them.
The murderers keep murdering. The churches keep burning. The rapists keep on raping. And the tide ain't turning. Uncle Sam. Every hour, it seems to me, your energies are wasted, chasing the friends and me. So, hey, Uncle Sam, hey there, Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us pot smokers alone. Terrorists keep terrorizing, leaders keep on lying, the haters keep on hating, and the planet's dying. Uncle Sam,
bad dog.
Do what's proper, call off your dogs and your helicopters. The problems of society were not caused by my friends and me. So, hey, Uncle Sam, leave us hot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us hot smokers alone. How many innocent people gonna be in prison? We just be snobs, sleep off and brotherhood freaks. I taught your mother nature never made nobody violent, never made nobody bleed, nobody will break nobody's peace. It's never intended to be harmful. Don't you tell me no lies with your caffeine, codeine, nicotine eyes. The cannabis man is disease since 1938 to be legalized and realize it. You made a big mistake. Uncle Sam, hey there, Uncle Sam, leave us hot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us hot smokers alone. Uncle Sam, leave us hot
I love you, but leave me alone. See you next week, Reefer Revolutionaries. Pot for peace.